Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to actually, I haven't totally prepped for this today, very unorganized. We are going to be chatting today about some trip stuff as well as trip accessories. Don't mind me while I get organized. And, oops. I've got a bunch of travel gear that I want to share with you. This is stuff that I don't really even think about it anymore. I actually just recently did some packing lists for a colleague of mine. And in the process of doing so, it actually, I think she thought it would take me about an hour or two to pull all this together. Took me days. And the problem is a lot of this stuff, I just don't even think about it anymore. I mean, before COVID, I was traveling pretty much, I'd say 5, 6 times a year, on pretty decent sized trips, going down to Mexico, whatever. And a lot of them were, well, some of them were work trips and some of them were self-justified work trips, if you will. I've always been a firm believer that you have to invest in yourself and your education in order to be effective. And so when it comes to travel, I hated it when a client would come to me and say, "Hey, I want to go and stay at such and such hotel, and I haven't been there before. I can't speak to it." And then immediately that hotel would go on my list of gotta go and see this the next time I'm in whatever destination. I mean, my big thing is, I've been to over 300, I think 350 now, resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean. Some of them I've walked through, toured, done site inspections. Some of them most of them I've stayed at. Um, but I can speak to you honestly about what those places are like. Now, it's just my opinion. I mean, of course, I hate McDonald's. I do quite enjoy A&W, little mama burger with cheese. Thank you very much. But we all have different tastes, and I can only guide you in as much as what I think when it comes to food, drinks, that kind of thing. Service, service is either good or it's bad, and then there's sometimes in between. And then when it comes to the overall resort, the ambiance, if you're looking for something that's busy and happening, then that's not necessarily what I'm always looking for. Sometimes I'm quite happy to just have it be more on the quiet side. And consequently, um, that might not be what you're looking for. So just make sure the sound is down on here. There we go. Yeah, so let me know where you're watching from today. And beautiful sunny weather here today. It is 1 degree Celsius. So we get the sun, but we get colder weather. Last week it was around 13, which I think we figured out was about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Not really sure. I still, I gotta just do I know how to say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 in Spanish, but you think I could convert Celsius to Spanish? To Celsius to Fahrenheit? No, still haven't figured that one out. Anyways, if you've got questions, so I have mentioned before that we've got channel memberships, and there's multiple different layers. If you are interested in this is something that's going to give you some BTS behind the scenes information. It's going to give you some sneak previews of videos. It's going to give you some other insider content, member only surveys, that kind of thing. And one of the things at the highest level that I'll offer is one-on-ones, consultations. So if you are the person who wants to do it yourself and book your own trip, but you have some questions and it's a resort that I've been to, this is where we would set up a complimentary one-on-one, and I would be at your disposal to answer any of your questions for for that resort or the area, that kind of thing. So just lots of different stuff available through the memberships. But this is the first of the month, and so at the first of the month, we are doing this for for free, for complimentary. So if you have questions about any particular resort, post them here, and I will answer them. And yeah, we can go from there. But we're also going to talk about travel stuff today. Hey, Proc, how you doing? Proc, of course, was our winner last week or one of our winners on travel trivia. So again, we're doing live videos every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And we are going to be having a proper edited video on the weekends. So for now, it's kind of one on the weekend, but I've got a trip coming up, heading down to the Rius in Cabo San Lucas. So I'm going to be staying at two different properties there. I'm going to be staying at the Riu Cabo San Lucas, Riu Palace, Cabo San Lucas, and as well the Riu Palace, Baja California. I had to think about that one. All these names are a mouthful, right? But the cool thing about that property, those properties, is if you're staying at the Palace properties, you have the ability to go to all three. There's the Riu Palace, Cabo San Lucas. There's a Riu Palace, Baja California, as well as behind it is the Riu Santa Fe, which of course is a Riu party property. So I'm kind of excited to see what this is going to be like. They will have foam parties. They will have glow parties. They have DJs by the pool. I think that will be a short visit for me. But you never know. I mean, look, if they're playing ABBA, I'm there. I'm in, My tastes may be old, but they are consistent and they are true and heartfelt. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like loud music by the pool, or having a pool where you could go where it's a little bit more lively, especially in the heat? Maybe that's a bit more fun. I'm not sure. We shall see. So, okay, if you have any questions about any particular properties, so where I was going with that was, stay tuned. Later this month, there's going to be just a ton of videos coming at you from those properties. I did ask today on the community post what you guys thought about buffet videos. When I started this YouTube channel, I had no idea that the buffets would be such a popular aspect of my resort videos. But apparently this is what y'all want to see. What kind of food they have at the buffet. My husband for years kept saying to me, he'd see me going through the buffet, and I'm ever conscious. If you've ever seen my videos, there will be a good portion that will show you the floor. This is not to show you how clean it is. This is to show you, to not show other guests. I truly, truly try to, unless they're seriously far away. But if you're there with somebody that maybe you shouldn't be, or that, whatever, look, I try not to film people, especially kids. Never kids, but I try not to film other people, so I will go around them. But when I would film things, I would try to go through quite quickly, and my husband's always like, "You're going too fast." And in fairness, if I'm going back and looking at some of my videos, I think, like, what was that even? Like, I'll talk about what the food is, but it's not like I'm giving you a chance to see it. So we'll see. I'm gonna do the buffet videos for all three of these properties, and I'm going to try to go slow. So wish me luck. We're going to see how it goes. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so let's talk about some basic travel gear. These are some things that personally I can't live without, and one of those is a travel pillow. Now, this is real purple. I've got some different colored lights going on in here today, but this is purple and this is blue on this side. Yes, pretty much guarantee you to say that this is the world's ugliest travel pillow. I have taken this on so many trips, and the reason I love it is because you know those regular ones that you blow them up, whatever, and they sit around your neck. But I should have brought one. I've got one in one of my other rooms. Uh, they it comes around your neck, and then it's open on the front, and it's just so useless because here's the thing: you end up doing this, and that's the whole point. Now, I have learned a little pro tip. Did you know the U-shaped travel pillows are actually supposed to be worn what would be considered to be backwards? So instead of wearing, if this was one like that, instead of wearing it like this, you would actually wear it like that. So it stops your neck from bobbing, probably stops your mouth from falling open and drooling all over yourself as well. But I digress. And Chris is saying they've started joining Facebook fan groups. Yeah, those are really good too, because a lot of times you'll have people who are participating and commenting while they're actually at the resort. Or for example, I've got a cruise coming up this September, and there's people who are actually on that ship right now. So I've pre-purchased the beverage package, but I just got the basic one, which for me, it's a European cruise. It includes any beverages up to €9. Is that good? Is that bad? Does that include a lot of things? I don't know. But because I'm in those groups, I can go and ask somebody to just take a picture of one of the bar menus so that I can get a sense of whether or not I really need to upgrade or whether this is going to suit me just fine. But go back to this neck pillow. So the reason I love this one, and I'm going to post a link to actually post that now. This one runs about $67, which, folks, that's about the going average these days. So there's the Instagram or the Amazon link for it. But the thing I love, I'm going to take that down for a second. I'm going to put all these links in the description below if you're interested. The reason I like this is because these two parts overlap, and it really is good at supporting your neck. Also, what's kind of cool is if you are like me and you love to secure that window seat, which also means you can lean up against the bulk or the edge of the plane, which you may or may not consider to be completely disgusting. But I mean, that's what Sani wipes are for, right? But you can fold this sucker in half like a big banana and just put it under your neck that way and lean up against the side of the building, the plane. So very handy. I highly recommend the neck pillow for longer trips. I mean, look, if I'm flying down to Cabo or Puerto Vallarta, I mean, those are 4.5, 5 hours. No worries, especially on the way there, right? You're like super excited. You can't wait to land. Might be having a few cocktails, probably having some food. So the neck pillow is not going to get used. But flying to England, yeah. If I was flying to Australia, 100%. So yeah, that is a definite for those longer trips. Of course, also earbuds. The thing I like about these ones, these are Soundcore. They have charging stations inside of them. For me, these Apple ones, they hurt my ears. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my ear shape, but doesn't work for me at all. Gives me a headache, actually. So if you're like me, and you need something a little bit different, these Soundcore ones are slightly different shape. They're just round, and they come with 3 different sizes of ear cushiony things, and they fit in quite nice. Oh, it's connected to my iPad. They are quite handy. And like I said, they charge themselves within this case. And then, of course, this case can be charged as well, if you can see that there. These ones run about, there's $35 right now. There's a $10 off coupon. I'll post that link for the earbuds. And they last a long time. And they're also, the only thing is, what's good about them is they're slightly noise canceling. The bad thing is they're slightly noise canceling. So if you're wearing them around the house or while you're out and about, you do lose a bit of that awareness of what's around you. And my husband and I were just talking about this the other day, as a woman, I think we just always are sort of having to be aware of our surroundings and aware of what's going on. So anytime you're losing one of your senses like that, where you're removing your ability to hear what's going on around you, becomes a bit of a potential safety challenge, and not necessarily a situation where you want to make yourself where you're not going to be aware of what's happening. Sorry, I keep looking at the screen instead of the camera. I promise I'll try not to do that. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is, I wasn't going to put this on here, but look, if you're taking videos, whether it's for yourself or for a Facebook group, like what Chris mentioned, or you just want to do it for yourself or for Facebook, whatever. One of the things that I have found to be invaluable is actually this brand new camera that I got, which is the Insta360. It might seem over the top. It probably is over the top, but I love it. It does provide 360 video. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips here, because what's the fun of me just talking about it? So when the video plays, you won't hear me at all. So it's 29 seconds long. And this is a video of me walking into the restaurant and in Rarotonga in the Cook Islands when we were there in the last fall. And this just shows you what you can do. The stick that it comes with, it is a telescoping stick, so it expands out. And it somehow the technology, it's so crazy these days, right? The technology makes the stick disappear. So when you see the camera, and all of this is done in post-production. So you take your video and you can literally, all you have to do is just walk around with the stick with the camera on, and it takes 360 video. I mean, folks, this is crazy. And then afterwards in post-production, either on your phone or on the computer, you can change the way the camera is facing. So all I did with this when I walked through the restaurant, and I had the stick out as far as it would go, and it's about 2 meters, I would say. I just walked through the restaurant. That was it. But let's tune into the video and you can see for yourself. So it's kind of weird, right? You can see the cord at the bottom where I'm holding it. This, they can't zoom out because this is actually aftermarket. I just bought this I did buy this on Amazon. I don't have the link handy, but I'll post that. But it's kind of cool for doing some more interesting shots and videos. The clarity is insane. They call it better than 4K. I think, I don't know why. I'm not a technical person in that respect. But the other really cool thing is that because it can extend out quite high, I mean, that's about 4 feet, I'd say. Oh, yeah, so not 2 meters. It's about 1 meter, I would say, altogether. And when we flew into Hawaii, we did not know that it was Pride Parade weekend. And so we were lucky enough to be able to check out the parade. Now, the part that I'm showing you is not very busy, but you'll notice that with this at a greater height, you're above everybody else. So you're getting a bird's eye view of what's going on. So let's check out. This is 17 seconds. So just a short little peek of what this looks like. So kind of cool if you are in a crowded place, that you can use your the 360 with the invisible stick, the telescoping stick, to kind of get up and above the rest of the folks. So I will put the link to that. Now, for just the camera, here is the link. And again, I will put all these links in the description below. The camera on its own is $534. These are Canadian prices, by the way. So if you're watching this from America, Pierre, it's like 30% off because, well, I mean, the prices, if you go to the link on here, it will revert you over to the US site. But so those prices are Canadian. So like I said, take about 30% off of that. If you want it with the full kit, and that is, it does not come with the selfie stick, but to get it with the selfie stick, as well as a spare battery, charger, all of that kind of extra stuff, it's a little bit more. That's $733. So, and that's the link here. But again, I will post that below. So yeah, so I mean, it's pretty cool. It also does photos. It also does some pretty interesting cameras, but it's just really neat if you're going to be somewhere where you want to take some photos or videos, because you can always transfer the video into a still later. But if you want to capture something as it's happening and you want to get a few different angles, but you don't want to have to keep changing with your phone, moving around and stuff like that. Especially what's really cool is with the Insta360 camera with the X3, you can take you take the video, and it is such a massive, now it does take up a lot of battery, but when you take the video, you can either have it be YouTube frame, or you can have it be TikTok frame. So 9:16 or 16:9. So it is pretty flexible that way. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. But like I said, if it's a parade or something like that, where you want to have a bunch of different angles, or you're not sure, how to like capture it all, or you just want to capture, if you're with your family and you want to capture their expressions as they're watching this stuff go by, then it just provides an additional perspective. So I've found it pretty, much better than I expected it to be. So there you go. The other thing that I could not live without is a fast charging cable. This is two different things. So fast charging plug is the first thing. And word of caution, I'll put the link on here. So this is for the 30-watt plug. And word of caution with the plug, you do have to consider how new your phone is and whether or not it's capable of taking a fast charge. So if you have I've got the 13 Pro Max, not the Max, just the 13 Pro, because the Max is the bigger one. But if you've got one of the newer phones, or I guess Samsung, then from 13 and above, I believe, would be eligible to use the fast charging. Otherwise, the problem is it is going to heat up your phone, and that can become a safety hazard, because it will get super hot, because it will charge it up to 55% in 30 minutes. Now, personally, I found that varies, and it depends on a lot of factors. Pro tip, and here's the cable for it as well. Again, I will post the links below, but you need the specific cable that is for fast charging. Again, it's all going to be compatible with your phone, and if it will accept fast charging. But pro tip, if you are trying to charge your phone really fast, when you're doing photos and videos, it sucks up the battery in no time. And then if you're also using your phone for navigation, if you're in, London, England, and you're trying to figure out which way to get to Big Ben, or I should say the clock tower, because Big Ben is actually the bell inside, then if you're using it for navigation, then that's going to chew up your battery as well. The best thing you can do when you are charging your phone is put it on to flight mode, because then it's stopping it from doing all that background activity, like checking if you got any new emails, looking for a Wi-Fi connection. That's a huge one. That really eats up a lot of space. If you have ever used your phone and tethered it to somebody else, if you have it set up for tethering, it is always trying to be is always being ready for a signal. It's the same as if you have something plugged into your wall socket and it's got a switch. It's still drawing the current to the switch. So the easiest thing is put it into flight mode, and then it will actually charge a lot faster. So that I could not live without. It's a really important one. And then, oh yeah, and of course my portable battery. Honestly, love it. The thing I love about this one now, this one's got two outputs, two USB outputs, and it's actually got a digital readout for the display to tell you how charged up it is. And I haven't charged this since I used it in November when we were in Hawaii after Rarotonga, and 100%. This thing holds the battery forever. So here's the link on that one if that is something you need. But then all you need to do is you want to make sure you've got your cables handy, and you sit down to have a drink or something along the way. This is a great way for you to charge on the go. And the other thing, which is my own personal indulgence, will be traveling with me to Cabo later this month, in a couple of weeks actually, is a pool float. Now this is really difficult to show you. Let me see if I can do this better. Okay, so basically you blow up the two ends, right? If you're at a resort, chances are the guys who work in the activities area will be able to inflate these for you. And then the middle part just hangs. And the nicest way to treat this is like a hammock. So basically you just sit down in it, and then this is a more effective display when it's actually blown up. But anyways, you get the idea. These parts are blown up. They're holding you up, and you can just bob along in the water. So to me, that is it's kind of like having your own lazy river ride kind of thing, because you're floating in the pool, and it doesn't take up a huge amount of space. So compared to a lot of those other traditional pool floats, absolutely takes up less space, and super easy to travel with. That has actually traveled with me to and from Rarotonga, from where else? Hawaii, Mexico a couple of times. Proc is saying got one from Amazon. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the link that I'll put on here as well. These are actually, again, Canadian prices. It's like $16 next day delivery. So you really can't go wrong. However, some resorts are now starting to say no to these. And I think because in around just before COVID, 2018, 2019, pool floats started to get total madness. I mean, there was the big pizza slice ones, the ones, it would be an inflatable 5-foot swan that you could swim on. And they took most of the pool space, and it really became unfair to the other guests wanting to use the pool, because there was literally no space left, and you've got these big things floating around you and bumping into you and stuff. So some resorts have said no to the pool float situation. Some of them are particular about what you bring. So Hyatt Zilara Riviera Maya, I love my Hyatts. Hyatt Zilara Riviera Maya was one of the properties where they said no to the pool floats. I clarified, and the one that I took that one, and that was not a problem. There was actually other people in the pool as well. And So it's really a case of like if it's a large one, then no. But something that size, at the Sandos Finisterre, for those of you who've been, there's an upper pool which is not very big. It's the size of my office actually. So what, 15 feet across is the size of that pool maybe. And there was 3 of us in there with those pool floats, and we were all remarking about how much we loved them and that they didn't take much space. And had we had a traditional, the flat blow up pool floats, not a chance would we have all fit in there. We might have been stacked on top of each other. But yeah, so there you have it. Those are my travel essentials. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is if you haven't seen my latest video of the new Cancun Bridge, definitely check that out. How will I do this? Well, I'll put a link to it in the description below. But I don't know, I know what I can do. I could put a link to it for you right now. And shareable link. Okay. And go to banner. There we go. Okay. So there you go. So if you want, jot that down, or just go to my channel and check out the latest video. But basically in that video, if you want to find out more details, but basically there's a new bridge that is going to be, the purpose of it is twofold. One is for tourists to get to the main hotel area and to get there in a lot faster way and to avoid all the traffic. When you leave the Cancun airport and you've got to start off at the beginning of the peninsula, down at the end where, well, you start at the bottom and then you go towards the Club Med, and there's a Marriott down there and the Sun Palace and stuff like that. And then you start going up towards the main area, the top corner of the peninsula, and that's where you're going to find the Hyatt Ziva Cancun. A lot of the Rius are located at that corner. The Plaza Cuculcan is along the way. Coco Bongo, all that stuff. And to get up there, I mean, it's either you're going that way or you're going through downtown Cancun and then coming up on the other side of the peninsula. Along with all the tourists are all the workers for all those hotels. And a lot of them do come in on buses. You'll see either public buses or resort buses. But nonetheless, it's just more and more traffic along that corridor. And this bridge is actually going to go across the lagoon. It's had some delays and some issues. There was obviously the usual environmental concerns. And then there's also the concern of, building it and logistics and all that kind of stuff. I mean, let's not forget, Cancun was built in the 90s, I want to say. And it was built solely for the purpose of being a tourist destination. The Mexican government created it for that reason, which doesn't mean to say that they should be ignoring environmental stuff, but as the area has grown and they're seeing record numbers of visitors, the traffic has become such a problem. I mean, remember last year when people especially with the construction for the Mayan train, traffic was so bad that it was taking people what would be a normally 15-minute drive. It was taking them upwards of 2 hours. People were getting out of their shuttle buses, grabbing their suitcases, and walking for the last 2 or 3 kilometers or miles to the airport because they were otherwise going to miss their plane. So it was a real serious problem. And although the Mayan train, that construction is mostly completed, there's still lots of traffic congestion. And so this bridge is going to go across from about midway from the airport to the heart of downtown Cancun, across to near the Plaza Cuculcan. I think it's going to be just south of Plaza La Isla, which is the shopping island on the lagoon side of the Cancun Strip. So that's going to really make a difference. I'm not, again, with the delays and stuff like that, it's hard to say when it's going to open, but should be up and running around March or April. Um, so I'll be there again checking out the new Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. So hopefully I'll be able to show you what that bridge looks like. There's also a brand new mall in the area, and that was built. It actually opened in August of last year, August 31st, uh, kind of quietly, and it's going to be a real destination mall. So if you're there in the middle of summer and it's ridiculously hot and unbearably hot, then escaping to an air conditioned environment is obviously interesting, more interesting and more desirable thing to do, as opposed to just sitting inside the hotel and reading a book or something. At least this is where you can go, and there's a lot of fun stuff to do. There's climbing walls, there's simulator rides, there's a drag racing thing you can do. There's gonna be hot air balloons, all kinds of stuff, and so it's going to be a real destination. It is just south of the Cancun airport, and they also have 3 hotels that are going to be opening up, and they're pretty moderate hotels. They're like I think one of them is a Holiday Inn Express, so cheap and cheerful. But if you find yourself needing an overnight hotel, then that could be a good option. At least there's a whole bunch of stuff for you to do in that area, in that mall, because there's shopping, there's food and drinks, all kinds of stuff. So some interesting news happening in Cancun. There's a lot going on these days. If Cancun's somewhere you've been and it's kind of been there, done that, times are changing. And with the Mayan train now open, so it's open on the route from the southern end of Quintana Roo up to Merida and over to Cancun. The route from Cancun down to Bacalar in that area, past Tulum, that's not operating yet, but I think they're hoping to have that open later this month. So look, I mean, this really opens up a lot of other places that you maybe hadn't considered before. I think they're saying the train is going to cost somewhere between $40 and $60. Um, I don't know if that's round trip or not. So we're still waiting to find out a lot more information about it. And look, I mean, so we go and stay in Cancun. Maybe you go and have a couple of nights in Merida. Maybe you go down to Bacalar, where they've got bioluminescent pools and stuff like that. I mean, it really opens up the possibilities. Plus, you could just go to Playa del Carmen for the day or for a couple of nights, and utilize that super easy train transportation to get there. So there's a lot going on here in this area, and it's looking pretty exciting. So I mean, we'll see. That it's busy, it's expensive. We're still seeing, I think we're kind of on the downward slope of revenge travel, where everything was sold out, just because people were sick and tired of being stuck at home. And so we're starting to see prices leveling off. People are getting their fill, and now they're also starting to look for other destinations, and try new experiences and new things. Of course, now, as I've said, Cancun has kind of become a new experience again. So I don't know. I mean, let me know in the comments below. All these changes to Cancun, is is Cancun somewhere that you'd kind of written off as a been there, done that destination, and now it's maybe somewhere that you would consider going to see all this different stuff, the train, using the bridge to avoid all the traffic congestion, maybe checking out this destination mall? I mean, there's so much going on. And then, of course, there's the new Tulum airport. So if you're the type of person that is going just for the weekend or for 3 or 4 nights, then if you were going to go down to Tulum, I mean, you're talking at least 2 hours transfer time. So perhaps Tulum area hotels were not an option for you in the past, or desirable. Perhaps not desirable is a better way of saying it. But now with the Tulum International Airport, you could fly in there, and I mean, into Port Aventuras, for example, I believe it's about a 20 or 25 minute drive. So by comparison, that's about the same as if you are flying into Cancun Airport and then you're going to be staying in the hotel zone in Cancun. So lots of different options. So I don't know. What do you think? Is Cancun on your potential list for the next year? It is for me. Well, also because I want to go see that new property. But well, we'll see what it's like. So that's all I have for you guys today. But we will be back next Wednesday as usual. And the usual time, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Later in the UK. I never get that. Well, 10 a.m. would be 6 p.m. 6 p.m. UK time. So Pauline, John, I don't know if you joined us today, but if you did, thanks. And by the way, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. Really helps out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Also gives you notifications of if I do happen to go live, and especially with the trips coming up, there's going to be a lot more spontaneous videos coming up. So do stay tuned for that. And of course, if you are a channel member, then you're also going to get some behind the scenes stuff. So check it out. So thanks a lot for joining today. Hit that thumbs up button before you go, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.